Nia Carter stepped onto the plane, her carry-on rolling smoothly behind her. The airport had been a whirlwind of long lines and rushed security checks, but she was finally here, boarding the 7:45 a.m. flight from Atlanta to New York. At 24, Nia was used to navigating spaces where she stood out. As a black woman with a sharp mind and a sharper ambition, she'd learned to carry herself with a quiet confidence that often unsettled those who underestimated her. Today, though, she wasn't thinking about that. She was thinking about the meeting waiting for her in Manhattan, where she'd present her latest investment strategy to a boardroom of executives twice her age. Her first-class ticket was a small reward to herself, a reminder of how far she'd come. The cabin was already buzzing with passengers settling in as Nia made her way down the aisle. She wore a tailored navy blazer, white blouse and pencil skirt, professional but not flashy. Her hair was pulled into a sleek bun, and her only jewelry was a simple gold watch, a gift from her grandmother. The first-class section was just ahead, its wide seats and extra legroom calling her name. She glanced at her boarding pass, confirming her seat, 2A. Window. Perfect. As she approached the first-class cabin, a flight attendant named Karen, a middle-aged woman with a tight smile and a crisp uniform, stepped into the aisle. Karen's eyes locked onto Nia, and her smile faltered for a split second. "Excuse me, miss," she said, her voice polite but edged with something else. "Can I see your boarding pass?" Nia paused, her hand already reaching into her bag. She'd flown first class before, and this wasn't the first time someone had questioned her presence. She handed over the boarding pass, her expression calm but her mind already racing. Karen took the pass, her fingers lingering as she studied it, her brow furrowing slightly. "This is first class," she said, as if Nia might not know. "I'm aware," Nia replied evenly, meeting Karen's gaze. "Seat 2A. Karen hesitated, her eyes flicking between the boarding pass and Nia's face. The moment stretched, and Nia felt the weight of it, the subtle assumption, the unspoken question. She'd been here before, in boardrooms, at conferences, in stores. The look that said, "Are you sure you belong here?" But before Nia could say anything else, Karen's expression shifted. Her eyes widened, and her hand froze on the boarding pass. "You're Nia Carter?" she asked, her voice suddenly softer, almost uncertain. "Yes," Nia said, her tone still steady but curious now. She noticed Karen's face pale slightly, her fingers trembling as she handed the boarding pass back. I'm so sorry," Karen stammered, stepping aside. "Please go ahead. Enjoy your flight." Nia nodded, taking her pass and moving to her seat, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something had just shifted. Karen's reaction wasn't just about the boarding pass. There was something else, something bigger. As Nia settled into her seat by the window, she glanced back at Karen, who was now whispering urgently to another flight attendant, her eyes darting toward Nia. Whatever had just happened, Nia was determined to find out. The plane taxied down the runway, and Nia's mind wandered to how she'd ended up here. 5 years ago, she was a college sophomore, scraping by on scholarships and part-time jobs. Her parents, both teachers, had instilled in her a fierce work ethic and a belief that she could achieve anything, no matter the obstacles. But it was a chance encounter at a campus career fair that changed everything. A recruiter from a small investment firm had been impressed by Nia's quick analysis of a stock portfolio during a mock interview. That conversation led to an internship, then a job, and eventually a bold move. Nia invested her savings into a struggling airline, Global Sky Airways, the very airline she was flying today. At the time, Global Sky was on the brink of bankruptcy. Analysts called it a risky bet, but Nia saw potential where others saw failure. She studied the company's financials, its routes, its customer base. She poured her money into shares, buying low when no one else would. Over the next 3 years, Global Sky restructured, expanded, and soared. Nia's investment grew exponentially, making her one of the airline's youngest and most significant shareholders. At 24, she wasn't just a passenger in first class. She was a stakeholder with a voice in the company's future. As the plane reached cruising altitude, Nia pulled out her laptop to review her presentation. The meeting in New York was with Global Sky's board, where she'd pitch a new sustainability initiative to reduce the airline's carbon footprint. It was a bold proposal, one that could reshape the company's image and boost its stock value even further. Nia wasn't just attending as an investor. She was a consultant they'd hired for her expertise. The irony wasn't lost on her. 5 years ago, she was serving coffee to pay rent. Now, she was shaping the future of an airline. But the incident with Karen lingered in her mind. Why had the flight attendant reacted so strangely? Nia's curiosity got the better of her, and during a quiet moment, she flagged down another flight attendant, a younger woman named Mia, who seemed friendlier. "Excuse me," Nia said, keeping her voice low. "I couldn't help but notice the other flight attendant, Karen I think, seemed surprised when she saw my boarding pass. Is everything okay?" Mia hesitated, glancing toward the galley where Karen was now preparing drinks. "Oh, it's probably nothing," she said, but her tone suggested otherwise. "Karen's just particular about first class. She likes to double-check things." Nia raised an eyebrow. "Double-check things?" Mia sighed, leaning in slightly. "Look, I shouldn't say this, but Karen's been with the airline forever. She's got this thing about making sure everyone's in the right place. Sometimes she comes off the wrong way. But when she saw your name, she recognized it." "Recognized it?" Nia pressed, her curiosity deepening. Mia nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're Nia Carter, right? The shareholder. Word gets around. Karen's been talking about you ever since the last board meeting. You're kind of a big deal." Nia leaned back in her seat, processing this. So that's what it was. Karen hadn't just seen her name on the boarding pass. She'd connected it to the young woman who'd turned a failing airline into a success story. Nia wasn't sure whether to feel flattered or frustrated. She'd worked hard to earn her place, but moments like these reminded her that some people still saw her as an anomaly. The flight continued smoothly, but Nia couldn't fully focus on her work. She kept replaying the interaction with Karen, the way her demeanor had shifted from suspicion to deference in seconds. It wasn't the first time Nia had faced that kind of scrutiny, and it wouldn't be the last. Growing up in a small town in Georgia, she'd always been the one who stood out, the girl who aced math competitions, who read business journals instead of magazines, who dreamed bigger than her circumstances. Her parents had supported her every step of the way, but they'd also warned her about the world's biases. "You'll have to be twice as good to get half as far," her mother used to say. Nia had taken that to heart, and it had driven her to where she was now. As the plane began its descent into New York, Nia closed her laptop and looked out the window. The city's skyline came into view, a glittering testament to ambition and opportunity. She felt a surge of determination. The board meeting was her chance to prove once again that she belonged, not just in first class, but at the table where decisions were made. After landing, Nia gathered her things and headed toward the exit. Karen was standing by the door, offering farewell smiles to passengers. When Nia approached, Karen's smile tightened, but she spoke up. "Miss Carter, I hope you had a pleasant flight," she said, her tone overly formal. "It was fine," Nia replied, her voice neutral. She considered saying more, addressing the earlier moment, but decided against it. Actions spoke louder than words, and Nia's actions today would speak volumes. She stepped off the plane and into the terminal, her mind already shifting to the meeting ahead. The boardroom was waiting, and Nia was ready to make her mark. She wasn't just a passenger or a shareholder. She was a force, and no one, not even a skeptical flight attendant, could change that. In the days that followed, word of Nia's presentation spread through Global Sky's ranks. Her sustainability initiative was approved, and the airline stock rose another 5%. Karen, meanwhile, found herself reflecting on that moment in the aisle. She hadn't meant to offend, but she knew she'd misjudged. Nia Carter wasn't just a name on a boarding pass. She was the future. And Karen, like everyone else, would have to catch up. Nia's story didn't end with that flight or that meeting. Her influence grew, not just within Global Sky but across the industry. She became a mentor to other young women, particularly women of color, encouraging them to take risks and claim their space. She never forgot the lessons of that day. The assumptions, the scrutiny, the quiet triumph of proving them wrong. Each time she boarded a plane, she carried that with her. A reminder that she wasn't just flying. She was soaring,